Welcome back, everybody. Boys on Film are today talking about, well, a horror movie, certainly creating a buzz on social media. It's called When Evil Lurks, streaming exclusively on Shudder, and it's Shudder's first Spanish language original. Look who's here to talk about it, feeling suitably Halloween-y festive. It's Chris. Hey. Do you like my spiders? They're real, by the way.
Yeah, they look really real, definitely.
Before we start, though, talking about this film, let me just explain this scratch on my nose. I had a Halloween DJ gig in Soho over the weekend. It was Saturday night, and I was wearing Michael Myers. Or Michael Myers was wearing me, actually, probably is the right way around. And I was trying to stupidly put headphones on under the mask because I didn't want anyone seeing the headphones because I thought that would add to the creepy look. And as I ripped the mask off, the headphones came with it. I don't even know why I was doing that. But yeah, that's why I've got the scratch on my nose.
Was there gushing? Was there blood gushing from you?
No, I didn't even notice that I'd cut my nose, to be honest. It didn't hurt or anything. I mean, it kind of felt like, you know, have you ever done a DJ gig where the headphones fall back in your face, they snap back in and catch you in the eye? It was almost like that, but yeah, I didn't realise it was cut, so that was embarrassing.
That's pretty cool, getting a Halloween scar. That's pretty cool.
I suppose it was apt, wasn't it?
Yeah, exactly. And don't put any bio oil on it because you want that to scar up forever. You want that to be your Halloween, like permanent Halloween outfit. That's what you want.
So it's set in a remote village. Two brothers find a demon-infected man just about to give birth to evil itself, which is a horrifying premise. I mean, when you think about that starting the movie, that's quite a good start. I mean, it does kind of get straight into the action, doesn't it, this film? There's no hanging around.
I mean, you're straight there. You know, as soon as the credits finish, the title appears, you're in it. And yeah, there's this kind of really interesting... I was going to talk to you about this because I'm really interested in this notion that people were talking about the, what do they call it, the Rotten, you know, this kind of evil character, as if they're sort of expecting one to appear at anywhere. And I've never been to Argentina, but if I ever go, which after this film I'm pretty unlikely to, but if I ever did, I'd kind of be saying to people, look, is it like, does this rotten thing happen a lot? Because they sort of talk about it like, there's one in every village kind of thing. You know?
Yeah, it's almost like it's commonplace, like it's normal situations. Like if you're there, everybody seems to know the rotten and that, you know, it happens. And yeah, I thought that. I thought, are we meant to believe that this is kind of almost normal, like another universe, I suppose, like a surreal universe?
It made me feel quite queasy quite a lot, this film. I spent the first time we met the first Rotten, and I don't do this very often, but I was watching from behind my hands. I mean, I was like...
through your fingers.
I was like, oh God, look how horrible he looks. You know, because he was really, really, really turned my stomach.
Yeah, do you know what that reminded me of, that scene? It reminded me of Seven. You know when they find that dead body, or the body that they think is dead?
I'm also going to say it reminded me of Mr. Creosote in Monty Python's Meaning of Life.
Oh, right, yeah. And that's in the first 10 minutes, pretty much, isn't it?
Exactly. And you're like, where's it going to go from here?
Well, there's a really shocking scene involving a dog and a young child. Not going to say any more than that.
And the goat was a bit scary.
The goat?
Well.
Oh, yeah, with the axe, which is on the front cover, the poster.
Yeah, and the woman with the axe. I mean, they both got a bit of axe action.
Yeah. And there's also pretty much very soon after the dog and the child, there's another eye-opener involving a car and a woman. Again, can't say any more than that. But just quite shocked by these scenes because they're very hard-hitting, aren't they? An instant.
They are. And there's something quite unrelenting about the action in this, which we always love about these kind of films. The pace of it's really good. You know, like you say, you're in it straight away. Nasties are happening immediately. And it doesn't let up. You know, you're there for like nearly 2 hours and it's like bam, bam, bam. All these hideous things keep happening. Every time you think something hideous has happened, you might have a few minutes off, something else really hideous happens. And there's a lot of it. Yeah, it really keeps it up. It really keeps it up.
Yeah, the effects I think are really well executed. They do seem believable. I mean, there's quite a lot of gore. There's quite a lot of violence. I wouldn't say it's too extreme, but it's kind of fun, exhilarating gore and violence in a way.
Your idea of fun is so messed up, Phil. I tell you one thing about there's some kind of slightly taboo-y things that happen in there that I don't think you would see in American movies. I don't think you'd see in mainstream European movies. Like basically the way some of the kids act and some of the things that happen to the kids
Oh
when
yeah.
the kids are around. It's pretty kind of taboo-y. And, I don't watch a huge amount of these kind of films. Obviously, I just watch Mary Poppins the whole time, generally. I
You're
just
lying.
watch scary when I have to talk to you.
It's very atmospheric. I mean, I've got to give a nod to the lighting team because the nighttime scenes make you feel creeped out.
I don't know spoilers, but there's a moment when the autistic son behaves differently, and you're like, oh, okay, what's going on here then? And then actually that's a really interesting kind of little moment that kind of, again, kind of really jolted me. I was like, oh, okay, he's not supposed to.
Sat at the dinner table.
No, when he's no, but that, oh yeah, okay. There's that as well. I mean, there's quite a lot of gross in this film. You look, like I say, I'm a very meek soul generally. It was quite high on the queasy factor. I think you sent me a message saying you thought it was quite gory. I think that there was an amount of gore, but it's the pus and the stuff like that. It's like that's gore's fine, but the pus, Later in the weekend, we watched the original Exorcist film, the remastered, beautiful. Everything's really crystal clear. Colours are
amazing,
looks incredible. The pus in Exorcist. So what was kind of interesting about having watched that and this film in the same weekend is that there's the demonic possession theme. That was completely coincidental.
Yeah.
But really interesting to have the two films to kind of sit next to each other in our twisted memories by the end of the weekend. And
definitely.
Yeah.
I mean, it's genuinely terrifying because the whole possession thing does give me the creeps, puts the hairs up on the back of the neck. You don't know when something's going to happen. It's always very sudden, isn't it, with these possession type movies? Something will jump out.
Apparently that's what it's like with possession, Phil. You've got to be careful about the possession.
I've got to look out for that.
And then it's over. I want to talk about the kind of foreign language thing of this as well, actually, because I think there was something very credible and accessible about the film, even though it's set in Argentina and it's kind of rural Argentina, and you'd think, oh, okay, that's really different from our experience. I don't know about you, but I really had this sense of believability and credibility about it. I was like, actually, this could happen here. This could happen where I live. This could happen in the countryside in the UK. There was something quite universal about it, which just makes it really terrifying. If you're watching something that was very culturally identified as being somewhere other, it would be a bit remote and different. But I think despite being set in rural Argentina, there's something very local about this. It could have been here,
Yeah.
Terrifying.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, that definitely does kind of crank up the fear, I think, in this and makes it more authentic, even though obviously it's very unbelievable in certain aspects. I think it does make it more believable. But yeah, it's the same director that did a film called Terrified. Did you see that?
Yeah.
Not Terrifier with the clown. This is Terrified. Terrified was really good. Really, lots of jump scares.
That's where I was getting confused because I knew I'd seen Terrifier, and then when I said anyway, no, I haven't seen Terrified. What did you think of the ending of this one?
Yeah, I was going to talk about that. I think that was the only thing that spoilt it a little bit for me because up until that point, until the final act for me did seem to tail off a little bit. Up until that point, I was really invested in the film and I thought it delivered a lot. And then the final scene, I kind of expected it in a way, so it wasn't like a big reveal or anything, and it wasn't a big surprise. So I didn't kind of like cheer at the credits rolling. I kind of like just went with it and oh, okay.
Yeah, the continuing menace that's going on around that time in the film just could have been slightly more amped up for me, just to kind of, the nail could have been banged in, excuse the pun. The point could have been banged home a bit less subtly. This is a horror film after all.
The only like minor gripe I have, and this is going to sound so petty, there are certain scenes where they're driving in a car. I know technically it's very difficult to make a driving scene authentic because obviously they have to do those inside of the car shots in a studio. And it did seem very CGI background to me. That's the only thing that kind of drew me out of it because up until that point of the first driving scene, I did feel like it was real, to a certain extent. I kind of went along with it.
I'm a really terrible person to watch films with sometimes because I say things like, that would never happen in real life, like really stroppily. And one of my massive bugbears about movies is people driving along in cars with the steering wheel like this and talking to someone like this.
I know, and they don't look at the road. I say that as well.
So, but what's really good about this film is just as I was yelling, oh my God, what's he doing not looking at the road? There's a consequence to him not looking at the road. So I was like, oh, told you so. There was something a little bit annoying about the lead character that he's this kind of whirlwind of chaos. Because of, I mean, to be fair, there's some demonic possession going on, so I can excuse a bit of chaos around that. But he'd kind of appear in people's lives or their homes or whatever, and say, "You need to help me. You need to do this," and kind of really be yelling at them in this really kind of stressed, animated state. And I was like, if only you just stood back for a second, just explained, there's a demonic possession going on and I need your help with it, they might be more willing to help. But people were like, what are you doing bursting in here, and kind of trying to demand help.
He was very tormented. I thought he was a brilliant actor. I mean, it's definitely a great performance. I thought all round the performances were good.
The end did let it down, I've got to say. The end, just like I say, just could have just been more dramatic at the end. And I think that would have sealed a solid 4 for me. It was a 4 for me because it's universal. There's something that's really terrifying about it. It's pretty unrelenting. It is a pretty gross watch. It made us jump. It scared the living daylights out of us. It was a scary film. So it worked, and it's to the point where I had to go onto iPlayer after we watched it and then seek out some really crap comedy just to kind of get my head sorted out, because I was a bit traumatized afterwards. I was a bit like, I just need to calm down now,
You were watching a few episodes of Dinner Ladies. You told me that, which I wouldn't say is crap comedy, but...
Why are you telling everyone that? That was a secret. Yes, I had to come down from this film by watching Dinner Ladies. That's what I had to do.
That obviously means it's quite a powerful horror film then, if you've got to do that.
Dinner Ladies is a terrifying horror film, absolutely. But this was absolutely a terrifying horror film, and yes, I needed some help afterwards for sure.
Excellent. I love that. That's the result I want. So it's called When Evil Lurks. It's available to watch on Shudder. If you've got Shudder, thank you very much for watching, everybody. Thank you, Chris, as always. Happy Halloween to you. Don't get spooked by the spiders.
Happy Halloween to you and your spider family.